you believe the right-wing narrative. When it comes to undocumented people, you believe that you should plaster the face of an undocumented mentally ill man.
What's going on, you guys? Today we have Emma Vigeland and Francesca Fiorentini. They are tearing Ana Kasparian apart. Ana Kasparian has told enough lies about Emma Vigeland. She has slandered the name of Francesca Fiorentini enough. Let's get into it with the vid.
Name that. But I really here's what I love
Fair
about
enough.
this. Here's what I love about this. I have tried for so many months, Emma, to not put these people's names in my mouth,
Mhm.
to not talk about them, to hold my tongue, to refrain from talking about it. And as someone who also watches the Majority Report, I actually know you and Sam have taken also great lengths, but that the broader left audiences on platforms like YouTube and elsewhere are distraught. They are upset. They see the coverage of crime and homelessness and blaming fires on, some unhoused guy that totally turned out to be false, and the Aurora, Colorado, gang takeover, and the DEI when talking about the FAA and the crash recently, on and on and on to the cozying up to Trump, and they are upset and they are livid. And so what I decided to do was to talk to Jank. And to be full disclosure, Anna also agreed to talk to me. However, she had a family emergency, and I said, "Dude, you take care of that. Do not come on my show. I wish you the best. Good luck with that." And that week she went on uh um Glenn Beck's show. So anyway, be that as it may, I don't think I'm going to be getting her back on the show. But the reason I just want to thank you because you cut strays for me. Speaking of making it super personal, but I just want to say, Emma, none of this is personal with TYT. None of it is. It's like
Yeah.
it truly for me. I think Anna and I have been like friendly. We took a hike a couple times, but none of it was personal. It's always about the politics for me. And it gotten to the place, which honestly, I really do still welcome her um, to actually hear her out. But because I want to know, why are we covering things like this? Why are we talking about things like this? Why are we focusing on these small granules that miss the forest for the trees? Is it
Right here, I believe that Francesca Fiorentini is bringing up the fact that sometimes the Young Turks, the way that they have been covering news stories lately, the fact that Jank is going to hang out with Charlie Kirk, the fact that Ana Kasparian is going to hang out with Glenn Beck, it's starting to look like they're shifting a little bit. I believe that I'm not the only one that sees that. We have Francesca Fiorentini bringing it up in a sort of tactful way. Emma Vigeland has covered this a few times, as well as we have other ones who cover this story where TYT is making a shift, a gradual shift to the way they cover these stories. It's not in a progressive way. So don't say that you're a progressive movement if you're not covering it in a progressive way. Don't say that you represent the home of progressives.
because ultimately you've never been a progressive? Is it because ultimately you are kind of a centrist? That you might be left on certain issues like corruption or, capitalism and whatnot. Although, Jank, TBD on union rights. But that ultimately, when it comes to things like unhoused people, crime, you believe the right wing narrative. When it comes to undocumented people, you believe that you should plaster the face of an undocumented mentally ill man who was falsely accused of starting a fire, the Kenneth fire, which was not the Palisades fire or the Eaton fire, in the middle of this wildfire. You believe in plastering that person's face on your Chiron, and when he has not been charged, and blame homeless people like crazy ass Mel Gibson. That is a political disagreement.
Right.
This is not personal, and it sure as shit is not about clicks, because let me say, the amount that I could say and choose not to,
Mhm.
when both she and, let's bring the cart back in, and Jank are on a little bit of a war path against every single person they used to work with, that we know, that we love, that we like.
Yeah.
David Dole, for example,
Yeah.
Mike Figueredo, like all these other people, to say nothing of former employees. It's really, really sad.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to chew on there. I will even say we tried to avoid it as well. I mean, we clip everything. Perhaps they were upset about the fact that it was clipped when we had an IM or a call in, but at the end of the day, as I was saying, they're adults. We're in the political debate and discourse space, and you've got to be able to take the heat and have the better argument. And based on their view counts, it doesn't seem like people think that they have the better argument anymore. So they choose to go after people on Twitter for engagement. And as you say, I, of course, could use information that I know from my personal relationship with Anna and friendship, where we would have many calls and conversations. I could have chosen to use that stuff against her. I chose not to. She doesn't seem to have those scruples, but she distorted things about my life. The fact that my parents were lawyers and I grew up with some privilege.
For context, we have Emma Vigeland and Ana Kasparian. They were going back and forth on Twitter. Ana Kasparian says, "Oh, you come from wealth. How could you know how it is in these neighborhoods? You don't know crap about the terrible life it is to live in a neighborhood like that. Like you could never understand the plight of of the ghettos or and that's it's sort of crazy how she is going to attack, make it personal. And Emma Vigeland is making a good point. She may be making it personal for views, for clicks, for drama, so that she gets more attention to herself and to TYT, which appears to be a dying network.
To make a claim that I don't have to work for a living. The end of that, like I am privileged in the sense of like, I don't know if I would be able to have engaged with these ideas at such a young age, because this was an interest that developed when I was young, if I didn't have this incredible education that I wish everyone had access to, or if I didn't have the comfort to be able to exchange in these ideas and not have to worry about like,
Sure.
is there going to be food on my table?
Yeah.
But that's kind of where it ends, because ever since I've left my parents' house, I am
You're
making my
not a
own
the
money.
answer is
I
you're
am
not a lawyer. You know what I
paying my
mean?
own
Like,
bills. I chose
you're
not to be a lawyer. I chose
y
to make this career. So
what you're
I don't
trying
know
to
what
say
she's
is you're a
referring to.
class traitor, and we kinda, like, love you harder for that, and I think I
Well, yeah, and like the way my sister's a lawyer, the way she lives very different than the way I live now. Well, she just started. Congrats to her. But it's like, it's I'm really proud of her, right? And I could have gone down that road too, and but I chose not to, and I don't make as much money because of it. And my parents, they did well. They don't have the means to support me for the rest of my life. Like the amount of money that she describes there it's just a lie. And I
yeah,
think she's probably distorting a conversation where we had where I said I could have gone to law school and made a lot of money and not had to work for the rest of my life. That's something I would say, but
right.
I don't even want to get into it
No, no,
because
no.
she
It's
discredited herself by claiming falsely, right below that in this Twitter storm she was having well into the late hours of Saturday night, even on her time. That the Majority Report did paid ads for the Harris campaign, which is like frankly defamatory. I mean, if you want to go down that road, that never happened or ever having had close to it was never close to happening, and we would never do that. And people would probably notice if we did ads. So I was making a
yeah.
joke that like we did it in code, but it just is. It's
Quick thing, if you like this content, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. But one quick thing, what does she want Emma Vigeland to do? Does she want her to go gangbang? Does she want her to go live in the trenches, in the bad parts? Like, she came from something, and now she's wanting to stick up for the disenfranchised. She is literally a journalist wanting to draw attention to the disenfranchised. What do you want her to do, Ana Kasparian? Like, what does she have to prove anything to you? That's what it seems like. It seems like Ana Kasparian is used to having to prove herself, and she's wanting to use those same things on other people.
it's bizarre to use, and I knew it was a matter of time because of how desperate and unhappy she seems, that she was going to use our private conversations for her own ends. But
It is deep.
again, I hate making it about myself.
Yeah,
I don't talk about my family life. I try not to. I don't mention my fiance's name publicly. I try not to say my friends' names publicly.
Matt
I
Lieb.
take my privacy extremely seriously,
Yeah.
and she knew that, but she still chose to put me on blast anyway because it feeds into an existing right-wing meme about who I am. But I
Sure.
gotta stop talking about myself because it's really about them. Sorry, Francesca, go
No,
on.
no, no. I mean, you didn't need to do all that, but it's fine that you did because again, it
She really should have just called Ana Kasparian, for what it is. She wants to play these games. She wants to throw dirt on people's names, which is very similar, if not the exact same game that the right wing plays. That's all for the video. It's Francesca Fiorentini and Emma Vigeland. They're really representing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.